is Rose Momsen. I live in Point Roberts. I work at the library. Um, I'm going to be repeatedly sharing the screen, so it'll pop back and forth. And I think I'm just going to go ahead. I'll show you the item first because it's small. So I was looking for something easy to talk about. And I found a little container that a friend of mine who just passed away, she was in her 90s, and they're thimbles.
Oh, cute.
They came from Norway. One is sterling silver. This is not going to show. One is glass. It's kind of a red colored glass. So I wanted to sort of figure out what could I do with this. So I am having to figure out how to share my screen, and there's a lot of things up here. So let's start with this one. Oh dear. Okay. Now let's hopefully, are you seeing a screen that says thimble collecting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here we are, and I just put up thimble collecting so that you could, if you know absolutely nothing about your item, you can use Google to research it. If you haven't done much searching on Google, the first thing you get are ads. And that's someplace trying to sell you something. Google's getting a cut when you touch on that. In general, I'm trying to go down to information that's far further down. You could read about why people collect thimbles or why it's a big deal. You know, you can get some information. I already know that I want to go find out about thimbles, so I can put in vintage thimbles. I've got something that's old. I don't know how old, so you just use vintage. That's your magic word.
Yes.
And you probably want to go down to, say, images. If I click on images for vintage thimbles, do you see all these different thimbles pop up? So Google wants to know, what do you want to know? So right away, they're giving you some words. They're giving you types of thimbles, Royal Albert, they're giving you England cop or whatever. When you're first starting to do research, you need to find some terminology, and you need to narrow it down so that you can figure out exactly what it is you're looking for. So it's part of this is just slogging around looking for information. And as you're poking around, you'll notice, you know, here's a bunch of thimbles that are $15 and here's some thimble that's 109. So obviously you're going to want to sell thimbles that are worth more than the cheap ones, because it's time and effort on your part to do the research and then to put the listing up.
Right.
I am a librarian. I think the research is interesting, so I don't mind poking around a rabbit hole and just spending time. At a certain point, you have some words you know how to use. You're going to compare prices. So there's several places you can look at. The highest end is going to be called like an antique shop. Ruby Lane is a website where they actually show you the prices of things. So if you put, I had put into Ruby Lane vintage thimbles on this search box, and they threw up all these different vintage thimbles. So, you know, these are worth, they're sterling silver, they're worth 38, they're worth 35, they're worth 30, you know, so she's got sort of a set price on things. Sometimes when you're Googling around on Google, it will send you off to WorthPoint or one of these places that wants you to join with a membership. If you look at Ruby Lane, you can get the same information roughly and have a general idea what something is being sold for. Another place you can look is Etsy, ETSY. And that's a vintage sale place, a craft supply place, handmade. So I had put vintage thimbles on the top, and it gave you 8,000 hits over here on Etsy of people selling vintage thimbles. I happen to be able to recognize that that little white thimble is enamel. So I am going to get out of this share and take us to eBay. See if I can get rid of this. So on eBay, I can go directly to what I'm trying to find. Let's see. Sorry, it's slow. There's a lot of things up. Shouldn't be in create our listing. Let me see. Well, maybe it is. We'll go there. Share. Okay. So here is vintage thimbles at eBay. Do you see an eBay face? Let me come to you, show you at the very beginning of eBay. Okay, that's how when you first come to eBay, that's what it looks like. You're going to need to make an eBay account. You're going to put your email in there. You're going to make up a password that's easy to type and you can come in. I leave mine up so I can go to Hi Rose and you can put up a picture if you want. You can change your account settings, all the same things you would do on any of these websites. There is this one on the right where it goes to my eBay, and this is where you can move around from what you're buying to what you're selling. It gives you a little bit easier to move around. I went to the top and I typed in vintage thimble. And it tells me there are 7,348 sales, either an auction or an outright sale going. And I could just start looking, but there's everything. There's the $3.80 thimble. There's the $100 thimble. So my plan was to narrow it down. So I said, okay, how about vintage enamel thimble? Well, now I'm down to 176. That's still kind of a lot to look through.
Where you see, oh, there it is.
You see it on the top here?
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Okay, that's where you're changing what you're looking for.
Right. No, no,
So-
no. I was looking for the result number and it's under your.
Right
all-
here, yeah, all listings. And you could sort them by auctions or your condition, you can sort them. So one of the things you can sort by, I'm gonna go over here to this left side where there's filters. And then when I scroll down, you could sort by condition if you wanted. You can sort by price. Well, I'm looking for things, I'm hopefully that these thimbles are worth something. So this one just said 15 and up. I also want to go down and click on the sold items. Click on things that are sold. What vintage thimbles sold? Well, now you're down to 83. That's a more manageable number to actually look through. So on my computer, I have a way to, if you're on a PC, you would use a right click. On a Mac, you hold down the control button and click, but you can open up tabs. So I'm looking through the thimbles and I'm just scrolling through the different thimbles. And when I come to something that's some kind of high-priced vintage enamel thimble, here's one that's sort of like that. I can just ask my computer to click it and it will open up another tab. So this starts to give me some words. Thimble, vintage, sterling silver, guilloche, blue enamel with roses, Henkel's, Germany. Like there's some more research. So I could be writing them down on a piece of paper, figuring it out. I had to go look up what guilloche was. It's a type of enamel that's used on thimbles. It means that it has a pattern. These are sold, right? So if you scroll down, you're through these first lines of the ads that eBay's giving you, but here's some wording. So I start to see that they're talking about condition, they're talking about the size, how much wear is on it. You can copy the wording out of these just by clicking and dragging over it. You can copy and paste the wording into a Word document or a notepad document and give yourself a leg up when you start to write your own description by lifting sentences out of other people's descriptions. Avoid just taking a description straight because it's somebody else's, but it is a way to speed up the writing and get a better start on what you want to say in your auction description or your sale description. So as we were going through these lists, I kept finding all these interesting thimbles. Here's another one that's some kind of decoration, and this one's out of the UK. So, you know, they're getting, and then all of a sudden I hit something called the David Anderson Norway #3 sterling silver thimble that sold for $300. I was like, okay, I like that. That's a much better price, right? I want to see if I have this. And you notice here that there's only one bid. So this was an auction, but they started the bid at what he felt the thimble was worth. And he only got one person to buy it at that. It didn't like go for a lot of people bidding, but he also didn't let it go for less than what he felt it was worth.
Right.
And it's got shipping. It came out of Vermont. It's from an antique store. So as you go down, here's your write-up. Well, there's a really excellent write-up for selling a thimble. So it's like, okay, I could copy that and do that. Sell to the highest builder, you know, all these things. Who's responsible for the fees, etc. This person is willing to sell internationally. This is in excellent condition, like it's giving you lots of information about that particular thimble. If you actually went to the original listing, which you click here, see if it will let us go there. And then you should be able to see all the different pictures that the person put in there. So guilloche is this thing with the lines. Do you see?
Right.
Is it showing you what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it has all these, and it's giving you every possible view. There are 12, there's the numbers for it. There are 12 pictures that you're allowed for free. And so use them if you have as many of them as you can, is what I would say. So I'm still looking, I'm still doing research. I'm finding other guilloche ones. This one sold for $148.75 and they made it free shipping. And then I'm poking around and look, I find exactly the same thimble. You don't usually, but it could have been this was a common thimble of some kind. And this is really interesting. It's like, okay, this is a David Anderson. That other one, this is vintage. That other one sold for $300. And this one has, it's been an auction. It had 14 bids. I go down to look at the write-up and it's obviously a dealer because there's pictures, there's a little box, they're talking ad infinitum about this thimble. Then they talk about joining the Thimble Collectors International. It's like, okay, this is a serious person that knows what they're doing. So this is a great idea for me to lift some of this too.
Right.
But when you go, so you can click on that little 14 bids. And when you do, you see the sale. So this person started it at $9. It's like, okay, that's pretty cheap to start at. They could have started it at $29.99 and it still would have had somebody start the auction. But by starting it at $9, it only went for 91.
Right.
I think if they'd started it a little higher, it might have gone for more, but it's hard to say, you know, maybe it's such a common thimble, it's not really worth that much. But you can also see the last two people were bidding against each other from the 23rd with 57. Then the next two people come in there and you put in a number that you're willing to spend and eBay raises the bids up until either you win or you don't. So you always want to take an odd number. If you're buying something, 91.27 is a better bid than 91 or 90. You always want an odd number because people tend to just put in 91.25 and 91.27 will win the auction.
Right.
So when you're buying things, remember to put strange numbers into your, however much the amount is you're willing to spend. So that's sort of a basic way of how you're finding out the value of something. You need to be very honest about the condition and you need to get lots of photographs. So if there's any little dirty place or mar or something that isn't perfect, you make sure you get a very good picture of it. You can't write on your picture, so you just have to get a close-up of something. And so now I have a general idea of how much something is worth. I will have to decide, am I starting an auction with this and starting it at $29.99, or am I just selling it? I probably can't sell it for $90 off the bat, but it looks like a lot of people were willing to spend $36 to $50. So I might be able to just put it up as a $49.99 sell it now thing and have it go more quickly. So I could decide how I want to do that. But and a thimble is not heavy. this is pretty easy to figure out how to pack. But you obviously are going to want to pack it. I'm going to get rid of this share screen. You obviously are going to want to pack it with bubble wrap and double box it. And so I am a big proponent on insuring your ships, what you ship. In the US, if we send it priority mail, you get a $50 automatic insurance that's included in the postage. So depending on what you're sending, just by sending it priority mail, you can show your receipt from your eBay sale, and that would be enough that they would pay you. That way, if you get a bad buyer who says it never arrived when it did or something like that, you'll be able to get back the money that you'll, because you have to refund them. So then you would be able to get back the money for the item that was lost along the way. So I definitely recommend insurance.
Does that happen a lot where people say they don't receive?
I haven't had it. It certainly is possible. I don't like to do returns. Like when I go in and show you how to put the form up, I definitely prefer not to.
Final sale.
Yeah, I will say, I'll show you what I say. I prefer returns. I prefer you know what this is. But I also do say, if there's a problem in shipping, let me know, because things happen, things get wet. Like sometimes I wrap things up in plastic and then pack them in it because I want to really make sure it arrived. There is, I'm going, let's go back to the share screen. Okay, let's see, this one, I think. So when you go to USPS, and so Mary, this would, you would look at the Canadian shipping, right? If you were doing something shipping wise. You put in your zip code and the postal code you're going to send to. I always use Maine because that's far away from where I am. So Maine is 04402 is like Bangor, Maine. You could choose New York City or Boston or whatever you want, but find a zip code that is the furthest away in the US from where you are. And that will give you an example of what the most expensive shipping is going to be. So if you decide to do free shipping, you want to have some basic idea of how much it's going to cost you. You can let eBay figure it out and just put, there's a choice when you do the auction, buyer pays shipping, it's different to each section. If it's going flat rate, it's the same everywhere. And you're going to choose, you know, whatever the date is that you're going to ship things. And when you're calculating based on price and on shape, then you have to have some idea of what things weigh. I think that it's, you can put in the ounces too, but they're just going to give it like between 3 and 4. There's 16 ounces in, for USPS, it's an imperial. So there's 16 ounces in a pound. So this one was about 3.5 ounces. And then you're going to choose, I would be choosing. So the thing that I'm going to be shipping and just displaying is a pair of shoes. So they're bigger. And then you have to have some general idea of the size of them. And you put the biggest numbers first. And you do this in your auction as well, because you can actually do you can pay your shipping through eBay and they give you a little discount. But eBay is also, if you do shipping through eBay, they also take a percentage of that money. So it's sort of a trade-off. So basically this pair of shoes, which is 3.5 pounds in a box, my choices are to send it priority mail for $23.15, or to send it retail, which is 5 days longer, for $20.85. Well, the difference between $21 and $23 is like, okay, for $2 extra and the insurance, I'll just send it priority mail. Like that's my logic in how I'm figuring something out. I know in Canada Post, there are a few boxes that are that you can just buy a set box. I don't know if they have insurance on them, but you have to buy the box, which means you have to take your item in and pack it in the box you've just bought and give to them. So it all has to be done in the post office. As far as I know, media mail is only going to work if you're selling books, CDs, DVDs, It can't be magazines. It can't be anything with any kind of advertising in it, but you can do movies and you can do music and you can do books on media mail. I think you can do computer programs also, or books that have a computer disk inside. That would also be media mail. And it's much cheaper in this regard. Instead of $23, it would have been $4.40. So, but it doesn't relate because this is obviously a pair of shoes and a shoebox. I don't choose to send international, but, and let me see if we can find it. Retail calculator, customs forms. Someplace up here on USPS.com, they show you how to pack. I had to ship some crystal and china to Switzerland. So I went into the USPS and there was a way that showed you how to pack things for no damage. And you basically were wrapping them in bubble wrap, putting them in boxes with little peanuts, little styrofoam peanuts, and then taking that box and putting it in another box full of styrofoam peanuts. And then how you put addresses at all the different levels and you sealed it up. And every single piece I shipped to Switzerland came in perfect condition.
Perfect.
So the lady who I was helping had already shipped a bunch of things. And when she arrived behind her packages, everything was smashed to pieces. So it was the difference in how they were packed and how it was sent, because these were sent like international priority and the other ones were sent slow boat from China. So do take a look if you can find it. It's in here someplace of like packing, like how do you pack China? That's the hardest thing to pack. And then you could work backwards depending on what you have. But you even antiques of any kinds and things, the more care you put into what you package and sell, the reaction on the other end of the buyer is happier. So I wrap things in tissue paper. I make a copy of the invoice, put it in my package. I write thank you on the invoice. Like you try and make it so that their experience of what they receive from you is really happy, because then they leave you good feedback.
Right.
Okay. So I've already got into packing directions. Sometimes I double box the flat rate things because it's not by weight. So you can cut up one flat rate box and stick it inside another and get a really super strong box if the object you're putting inside is not taking up all the space. You have to remember when you're thinking up your prices that eBay is going to take 10% and of your sale price. So if it's $20, you want to sell things for more than $20 if you can. So, but say it's $20, then $2 is going to go on top that eBay is going to take. PayPal is going to take about 4%. So you're going to add another little puddle of money for eBay. And then your shipping is going to cost something. And then if you have to pay insurance on top of that, insurance would be there. So you want to get your sale price to cover your expenses and how much you think the object is worth. Right. So trying to keep track of that on a piece of paper ahead of time is a good idea. And you're comparing what things have sold for. Like you're comparing what other people are selling things. So see, this is pretty small. I'll go back and forth. So when I'm doing research, I just, let's see, can I pin my screen? I think I can pin it. Am I big? I should be big to you. So I just write down. So I have a pair of Florsheim size 12 triple E shoes I'm going to sell. And I could show them to you in a second. So I was just writing down the words from the shoe. And then I went online to figure out what other people talked about, because all I knew it was a men's dress shoe. So I'm writing down all the words I'm finding in these auctions: Oxford, Brogue, mock toe, lace up, comfort tech, like all these different things. And then I start to write down what the auctions I'm seeing are and how much is the shipping. So you would keep a little piece of paper where you're just scratching things down. And as you've got a couple of things, you start to see, okay, You know, they're selling around $50, they're selling used for $20. Like there's a range of prices to work from. Shoes, I wonder if I can get to this pair of shoes. Share screen, there they are. The shoes look like this. There they are, dress shoes, hardly worn. Somebody wore them to a wedding. So it was like, okay, I'll just see, you know, you never know what's worth something. There's a huge market in men's clothes, all kind, and women's clothes too. Lots of clothes being sold all over eBay. Big, there's like 8 billion people on eBay any particular second. So it's definitely worth it. If you have something that was some money, just double check. It might not, like, I don't know about that glass thimble, that might be worthless. But depending what you've got, it might be worth doing. So let's take a look at how to sell those shoes. Okay, so when you go and you're going to, let's go over here to the first one. You're going to go up to sell. And the first thing they're going to try to do is figure out, are you selling something that's already been sold on eBay? So you can put in the barcode, which is your UPC number. You can put in the ISBN from the back of the book, and they'll find it for you, and they'll tell you what category it should go in. So I have started an auction, and you can work a little at a time, and you can go to the bottom and you can say, save this as a draft. And when you're completely done with it, you can save it as a template if you're going to sell more than one pair of shoes, say, so that you can just bring up your shoe or your clothing sale. So if I go to resume, you're going to see the beginning of this auction. So I just put in the brand name, which is on the shoe, and that it was a men's dress shoe. And they immediately popped up all these item specifics. So as I added item specifics to my title, and you'll see where this on the right, it says how many characters you have left. You can fill up this whole upper line. Your goal is to make some money. The lady who taught me how to do this never clicked any of these things where you paid for stuff. It doesn't need to have a bold headline. It doesn't need to have a big picture. It doesn't need to float to the top of the list. If somebody is looking for 12 triple E shoes, they're going to find that shoe because they're going to look for men's shoe 12 triple E, and everything available is going to pop up in that auction. So if it's brand new, I will put new up here, or sometimes new in box is NIB. You can put an initial or something. But basically, I tried to put in all the basic information. Florsheim men's black 12 triple E wide mock toe. So the mock toe and the Oxford and the Comfort Tech were all words I found out by looking through eBay, sorting through the auctions, and figuring out from other people's auctions what they were called, because I didn't know. I just knew they were black dress shoes that looked like somebody wore to a wedding. It could have been a funeral, I don't know. It was my neighbor's pair of shoes. I don't put in second categories. This ones were pre-owned. When you say pre-owned, they ask for condition. And that's where you're going to say, it has a little tiny scratch, you know, it's worn, whatever. These are almost perfect condition. There's no wear. So I said, likely worn only once. You don't really know it because my neighbor just sold his house and all his stuff got thrown out. So I uploaded a bunch of photos, and you're going to choose, and I've sat them on a chair. So I tried to make the chair look as good as possible. They're different. I try, a lot of the shoes, you can change around on the bottom of the shoe. You can crop your picture. You can turn it right and left. You can enhance it. Make it brighter or darker. You can manipulate your pictures through eBay if you want, or you can do all that ahead of time and just upload it. You click on this little add photos, you tell it where to go on either your desktop or your computer to pull the photo up. These I had taken on my phone and just uploaded them and put them on my desktop so I could find them more easily. And I've tried to take pictures of every part of the shoe. When I was doing the research on men's shoes, I noticed which ones were selling well. And the ones that sold best had pointy toes. Everyone, somebody's into pointy toed shoes. So these don't, these are square toed shoes. These are meant to be comfortable. So I've tried to promote that these are comfortable shoes, that somebody who's got a super wide foot is looking for a very comfortable shoe versus a fashionable shoe, but there's nowhere at all on the sole. Um, there's hardly anywhere inside, and there was the label. So I got a picture of the label and everything that it says. So as you go down, the item specifics are offered and you can add things. So I added that it was just black, that it was an Oxford. I added the size, that it had leather. So where there was a place I knew something, I added it. And I clicked the feature was comfort. And then they gave you the opportunity to click classic. And I said, yeah, these are kind of a classic shoe. So that's what I did. I didn't put in anything for European sizes because I don't like to ship international. It's harder to insure things internationally. So I just ship to US and don't worry about it. So then you come down to where you can write your copy. If you go over here to the right and click advanced editing, you get to a place where you can make the lettering bigger, or you can change like make it centered versus left or right. So I'm just going to, I think I can just do it and you will only see the top. I have written some copy over here in a notepad, and I'm just going to copy it and paste it in. So did it drop in? Do you see it now? Okay. Yes. And it comes in really tiny. I can't actually read that. So I'm going to make it bigger. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Make it 15. And then I don't really personally like it over there to the left. So I tend to have all my auctions look like that. They're all centered down the middle. And I tried to make it so it's easy to read. The stuff that this first section, so I wrote down these dress shoes are made for comfort. I decided to put that right up at the top because that's my, you got to have a gimmick. That's my gimmick. And then the second section is exactly pretty much what was written on the inside of the shoe. And then very lightly worn, pre-owned, practically new condition. That was sort of things that I lifted out of other people's sales. And then I found that Florsheim is selling their shoes on eBay. And so I just lifted that section from the Florsheim auction and just took this and said it's from their publicity. This Mox Toe Oxford, this, that's what they were promoting. It was for a different shoe, but it's the same information. A lot of people write down if their item is coming from a pet-free or smoke-free home. I've also seen people write down things that say, we have a cat, but the cat is not allowed into my closet, or like if you have an animal, they're specific that the animal has not been sleeping on the shoes and whatever. And then I say it will be shipped, like how it's going to be shipped. A lot of clothes come in these plastic bags now. So if you're selling something if you're sending something in cardboard, then that's a plus over somebody who's sending a pair of shoes in a plastic bag, particularly because I'm gonna scroll up a bit. It should show you at the top of this. It's not gonna show us at the top of this, yes. Mine is going to say free shipping. So they're gonna see that right away that it's free shipping. So not only am I sending it to them for free, but I'm really packing it well and spending money on the shipping. And then down here I say, I prefer no returns. Please know this brand and size, thanks. I hope these comfortable shoes are just what you're looking for. So you can change it around, and you get something in this middle section just to practice with, say, just start your description. And then you're going to go to your selling details. Your choices are to make it an auction or to make it a fixed price. and I'm just going to make it a fixed price. And the eBay is going to tell me what they think this is the average sold price, but that's not with shipping. So 33% of people offer free shipping at that price. Well, I'm not going to bother with that. You could also go here to see the sold listings. You could open up another tab and keep your draft live and open up another page and see them at the same time. It's a way to try and figure out what could you get for your item. You could think about it as you're writing it. So I'm going to go ahead. I did all my math and came out that I need to try and sell it for $55. And so I was like, okay, I'll say $54.99, which is cheap for fairly brand new men's shoes, considering the shipping is included. So it will probably sell. And I think out of that, I think we were going to make like $35 or something. And then you're going to need to make a PayPal account and have a PayPal password. And when the item arrives to PayPal, the eBay percentage has been taken out, and then PayPal is going to take their actually, I think no, PayPal takes their percentage out. So when the money comes into PayPal, it's not completely, it'll have your shipping amount if it's in there, but you're going to be paying eBay later. So you have to remember that part of that amount of money is going to go to eBay at a later. They bill monthly on eBay to a credit card. I just have PayPal send the money to my bank account. Some people leave the money in PayPal, which means you have to give them some of your personal information and make account at PayPal. So you can decide how you want to keep the money separate or organized. In our situation in Washington State, eBay is going to charge them 8.5% sales tax. Depending what state you're in, eBay is going to charge them sales tax. They didn't used to, but now they have to. And then you can decide right here, are you doing returns? Domestic returns accepted, international returns. So I don't click those because I'd really rather not have returns. So if somebody is pretty sure of the size of that shoe, then that's great. Your choices when you get to shipping is to make it the same cost to everybody or to calculate it. So if you were doing, shipping where it was going to cost different shipped to California versus Maine, then that's what you would choose, and the cost varies by location. And then you could also have local pickup only. You could have other things. So perhaps you would do eBay for the area you live in California for your antiques and just say local pickup only and see if you can find somebody locally who wants to come and get it.
Right.
So here's the calculating shipping. I've set it will go priority mail, and I've clicked free shipping, so there's no cost. You can choose how many days you want to take to deal with it. We don't have postage here on Saturday and Sundays, so I like to give myself a little extra room in case it sells on a Friday and I don't. So I usually say 3 business days and then send it right away. And that way it'll arrive faster than they expect, which makes them happy too. And here's where you would put in your sizing. So this sizing was different than the sizing from the last thing I shipped. What did I say? It was 14 by 9. So this is a little smaller by 6. Come on, didn't go. So it looks like you have to do the whole number. Okay. And the weight is still 3 to 4 pounds. So if I wind up, I'll show you what it looks like, but when you do go to sell something, they give you, won't be able to get all the way there, but it gives you the opportunity to have eBay make you a shipping label, which you then print out at home and tape onto your box. You don't want to tape over a barcode, but you can tape over everything else to secure it to your box. So here's Sell It Faster, where here's another place they're trying to get you to give them some money, and I don't. And if you're selling multiple things, you can click the offer a discount. I didn't. I'm willing to give a discount. People can email you and say, any chance you would give me a break? And so I'm happy to give people a 10% discount. which is roughly what you'd be doing here, 5, 10, 15% discount if you were doing it. So when you get to the bottom, and this is your first draft, you would go to preview. You could save it as a draft right then, but if I click on preview, do you see a box come up? Does it show you a box that came up?
No, not yet.
Okay. So let me see what I can do here. Stop share. As soon as you leave one screen, you have to go to another screen. So now let's try that one. Share. Can you see it now? It looks like an auction.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what the auction would look like. That was the first picture I said I wanted to show it. There's the price. Immediately, it tells you the condition. It looks really nice. Likely worn only once is almost the first thing you see. And then it should say free shipping. Just says ships from US, pre-owned. I don't see the free shipping on there. Delivery varies, contact seller. So I might have to stick free shipping or something up on the top to make sure that's clear right to the top. In this one, you would have to look here to have it say free shipping, but it's not showing up. Oh, well, but you can see the basic write-up. So what I like to use this preview for is to try and see, do I need to fix some of my paragraphs? You know, like that middle section is really wide. I should probably go ahead and put hit return after these sentences so that it tightens up a bit, because it looks quite fat in the middle.
Right.
So I would just close that and share a different one. Let's go back. There it is, create your listing. Go back up. And go back into this section and find a place where I can just hit return, which looks a little odd now. Let's try that. We'll try that. Yeah. So then I can go down and it's probably not going to show you the preview, but I can go up and check the preview, and now it's lined up much nicer. So I'm willing to do a few extra seconds of that to be fussy. So I've got a price, I've got the size, I've got my copy. So I'm just going to go straight down and say list item and hit the button. And it takes a minute for it all to go. And then it will say, I hope you can see it. Do you see the little pop-up? It says success. So if we go touch on it, click. Can you see that, which is the live one?
Yep.
Okay, so that's now live. And it's a buy it now product. Oh, I forgot to say free shipping. Oh, now it says free shipping underneath. See the red? So what somebody's going to see quite quickly if they're looking for a 12 triple E is here's this shoe. And there it was. I added returns after those things to try and tighten it up so it looks a little nicer. Sometimes I will double check and go through and just really make sure I didn't completely destroy anything.
Once you've posted it, are you able to edit at all?
You can.
Okay.
So up here in my eBay.
Just in case you've done something,
So if I go up under my eBay, I can go to summary, and that will show you what I've bought recently, our books. And over here on the left is selling, and I can go to all selling.
Right.
So we did this, I forgot what day it was, Thursday. This is my second class. So on Thursday, I put up a pair of men's shoes. Right. Today, we just put up these men's shoes here. If I go down here in the overview and I go to active, and you're going to want to poke around in all these things to sort of see what's there, because it's hard to find things, I think. They would like me to add specifics of different kinds. I'm not worried about that. But now, since Thursday, 13 people have gone and looked at those Cabela men's shoes.
Unbelievable.
Nobody's interested enough to watch it. To watch it means, oh, maybe if this price drops, whatever. So mostly this one said shipping you pay. Did it really? Buy it now, shipping, oh, I pay, you pay, meaning the buyer, the seller. So it's on, this was, and here, this is one where I actually said free shipping. So over here in the right, there's this little arrow. Can you see it?
Yep,
If I click on it, it goes to revise.
I see. Okay,
And so now that auction for the Cabela's shoes will pop up.
right.
And there's all the pictures. So in these Cabela shoes, they had, the suede looked different if you combed it one way versus the other way. So I showed it.
Right.
You comb it one way, it looks dimpled. If you showed it the other way, it's smooth. So
Right.
I don't think that's a problem, but in case somebody else thinks it's a problem, they need to know.
Right.
And over a period of time, I will go ahead and go up and knock it down $5 at a time, but I'll leave it in there for a couple of weeks to see. Mostly it's about size. So they're trying to tell me that $25 is the average price, but $23 is the shipping. So it's
Right.
like, okay, somebody wants me to bring, and those were used. This one was a brand new, never worn pair of shoes.
Right.
Okay, so how do I get out of this? Send us your feedback, revise your listing. So I go down to the bottom, update listing. So I can just hit cancel. You want to cancel your revisions? Yes, I didn't do anything, so they can just stay. So then you just see what you have.
Right.
So
As,
the one view of the shoes is me. I went and looked at it. So there's my view.
Right. Does everything sell?
I have had good luck last fall. One thing did not sell. It was an apron, an old antique apron that somebody had sewn out of birdshot bags. So it turns out that birdshot bags are collectible, not sewn in an apron, but just as birdshot bags. So I posted it up to the birdshot bag place and it got a lot of views. And I think I was asking $10 or something, $15, nothing very expensive. But nobody was really interested in a weird birdshot bag apron. So then I don't know, a week into it, I thought, this is not moving. I'll move it over to aprons. It got 0 views in aprons. People who collect aprons are not interested in birdshot. So it was like, okay, this is not working. It had come from the basement of this house where Bill lived. And some of the family members are still living here. So I had reason to go up to their house. And so I just took this weird apron and said, okay, so this was in the basement of that house where your great aunt lived. And I handed them this thing and said, anybody in the family want this? And they were like, oh, this was almost so-and-so's. And the whole big discussion about it belonged to somebody. I thought, okay, that's the right place for the weird apron. I don't need to sell. Right?
That's cute.
I know.
Yeah.
And the woman who sewed it didn't care about the birdshot. She liked the heavy
Right.
fabric. So the birdshot is on the inside of the apron. She's hidden it.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's too complicated to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so
You
I
gave
want
it
to
the
show
people.
you what it looks like. Okay, are there any questions about this part of the
Okay,
post?
Rose,
Yes,
Rose,
ma'am.
that ad there, that right, the view, it says on the floor shine shoes, under
Yeah.
shipping, it says you pay.
So I'm in my eBay, right? Here's
Mhm.
Rosebud Quilter, and
Yeah.
I'm in my eBay.
Oh, so you pay, like you
It's
the
talking
shipping.
to me.
Okay,
It's reminding me that I'm selling it at $54.99, buy it now, but I
Yeah.
will have to pay that shipping.
okay, yeah.
Over here on the right, I can pay to promote the listing. Say I give the shoes away, I can end the listing.
Mhm.
The thing about these buy it now ones is they stay up indefinitely. When you go to do an auction, you have to choose between a 7-day auction and a 10-day auction. And there still should be free. We were not, I didn't point that out, but at the bottom of the auction, it said 0. We weren't paying for anything. I think once you get past 100, you've got hundreds of things for sale, they start to charge you. But it's usually 10 cents, 20 cents. in the very beginning, I paid an extra 10 cents because you could put pretty colored borders around your description. And the woman I was working with was like, don't do that. I'm like, it's 10 cents. Don't do that. She said, don't give eBay anything because eBay will take a cut of everything you sell. They're getting so 8 million people selling. eBay's making lots and lots of money. They don't need my extra dime. So
Do you ever do an auction bid?
I have done. I didn't, let's see, hold on a sec. Let's go to sold. So I sold a bunch of clothes for my boss.
Yeah.
And all of those, let me think if any of these were auctions. I think I did them all straight. So one of the reasons I got into this, I'll click onto this and you can see it, is that the library got donated an enormous box of brand new DVDs that somebody didn't pick up at the shipping company. And so the library, friends of the library, when the little used bookstores open, it's closed because of COVID. But when it's open, they sell for $2 a piece. And I actually took the time to look up what they were, because the guy from the shipping place had no idea what they were. They just were Christian Bible stories of some kind. Let's see if we can click this. Can you see that picture?
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out that there were 2 full sets of the first 4 seasons of a hugely popular children's Bible TV show. So and they were selling for $135 a season.
Wow.
So I put them up, and I think I put free shipping because they could be sent media mail. So I just put them up at a really good price, and they flew away. It was amazing. And because it was earlier in the summer and people were stuck with their kids, they were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, give me these. You know, they were desperate to keep their kids busy with something. So they went all over the country. But one person emailed me and said, I would like to buy 4 seasons if you will give me a discount. So I gave her a break on the price. And there was a way to do that through the auctions. And it was so easy to do because I was selling 8 things, but I only had to do one basic write-up and then copy it into each one. I had to get all the right, I don't remember. Did I say what was in them? Or I just said season 3. They were all in shrink. I'm happy to discount. And then I just copied, what it was from the Superbook. I had to go to the website and read about them. So I had to find out a whole lot about this particular TV program. But that's part of your research. And so basically when we were all done, the library made just over twice as much as it would have made selling them one at a time. But we got to have it in a big bundle. And so that roughly was a donation to the Friends of the Library from that shipping company. I just was the middle person in between. And on this thing, I took a percentage because it was so much money. It was like $500, $600 or something. I said, oh yeah, I'm taking a little cut off at the top of this. And usually if I'm just selling a book, I don't. So let's see, what else do you see up here on my eBay? This thing over here on the left, it shows you like what you've been looking at or what you've been buying. In your selling, you should be able to get to your account. Let's see if we go to all selling. Where is account? There. Do you see right here under this title, you have activity, you have your messages. This is where people have emailed to you. eBay sends you junk mail. But people ask you questions about the plates that you're trying to sell, or this person says, Sophia has a question about such and such. So you're going to get those in your email, but you can also find them here. The thing that's important is that account button. It took me forever to find it. And that's where it comes up how much you owe eBay. So you're going to go down here to and they put a little circle next to it because it's hard to find. You're going to go to your seller account. So that's telling you how much your eBay fees are. So my current balance, I need to pay them $8.90 for whatever was sold this month. they're trying to tell you that you didn't pay $2.10 on insertion fees because I'm not selling that much. That's how much it would have cost usually. You can figure out, like since October, I've paid $115 to eBay in various fees, and they're tricky to find. Let me see if I can figure it out. Up here, do you see in the middle where this is, where it says all account activity, fees, credits, payments? If you go to fees, that's where you're actually finding out how much are you paying on each sale. It's hard to find. They don't make it easy to figure out. So roughly, the final value, so on a bunch of plates that I sold, they took $2.50 off of a $25 sale, but they also took $1.51 off of the amount the person paid for shipping. So eBay, any money coming through eBay gets the cream off the top.
So do you have a credit card registered with eBay?
You have to give them a credit card, yep. And then they bill every month. So if I don't sell anything else in January, well, due as of the 10th. So at some point this month, they will bill me. It probably tells me. And it looks like that they already billed me $26.13. I actually keep an Excel form that has all the columns.
Right.
So I can sort of keep track, particularly when I'm selling for the library or for my boss or somebody else, because I need to make sure I get paid back the eBay fee, the PayPal fee, and the shipping fee, and take that out of whatever money was put into my bank account, so I know how much I'm paying out to the other people.
Right.
What else can I tell you? Hold on, I've got notes. So I told you to print out a packing slip of some kind. Let me see if they will show us one. It's a little hard to move around. So go back to selling.
Rose, is this reportable income on your income tax?
So my understanding is that when you're selling your goods that you bought, that you own, and you've already paid sales tax on it, that you shouldn't have to pay sales tax on it again. So I don't declare this as income because they are your personal goods, like you had a garage sale.
Yeah.
If I'm not ever, I mean, what am I getting? I had a big month and I had 10 sales or something. It's time consuming and fussy. So I suppose if you had several hundred eBays that you were doing all the time, then that would classify you at a different level. And that might be considered more of a business.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to sell things that are worth at least $20, $25 because you're going to put an hour into this no matter what you do. But if you're putting in 4 hours and you're only making $10 off of your sale, it's not making any sense unless you're doing lots and lots of those.
Do you have a specific designated email so it doesn't get muddled up with your personal?
I did not, but you could. You easily could, but then you have to remember to go check that email and have both of them going. I just left it in the regular email.
I've got multiple emails. I'm just thinking, do I really want one more?
Well, you would just put it on one of those. I do have some, there was something I was wanting, and there was something I was thinking, I need to have an extra email to get an account. What can I do? And I realized, I sold my hair. I used to have really long hair and I cut it off and sold it. And I had to make a separate email because it was a privacy concern. And so never used it. There you go. You could sell your hair.
I've got COVID hair right now.
Measure it from the base of your neck. You want 20 inches, So I made $350 off my hair, but that was not much. People were making $5,000 off their hair. So it just depends. That's a whole nother ball of wax, selling your hair. Do you see on here where it says selling promotions? So this has been going on forever. They're trying to get you to use eBay. And so they're giving you 200 free listings a month. Well, I'm not making them. I'm not getting that far in there, but I could. So that they won't charge you to list things for sale. And then it tells you this starts January to February. Well, it's been doing it every month for COVID. because everybody's sitting at home. So eBay is promoting this over that. But I was trying to figure out, let's try seller dashboard. What's that look like? No. So you could get lost trying to find things here in eBay. Let's try my eBay selling. I was trying to get to like an invoice. How do you get an invoice for something? If they will show it to us in the sales. So when you have a sold item, like right now you can view the tracking or the tracking. There should be a place in here where it would let you go to invoice. And then you would see, like it would say eBay and it says the item and it says what it's sold for and the tax and the total. So I print out actual invoices. And one reason I do that is that the person's name and address is on it. So if something happens to the package on the outside, their name and address is on the inside of the package and the post office would still be able to deliver the item. So that was just a backup for me to put their address inside somehow. And that's the thing I usually write thank you. And if it's for the Friends of the Library, I write thanks for supporting libraries. And yes, you were talking about revising, wanting to go in and revise. The ones I sold for my boss, I wonder if we can go to this. The ones I sold for my boss, here's me in her dress. They were XXLs. And my first write-ups all said, oh, she thought this was not flattering on her, this and that. And the dresses wouldn't sell. So I finally was like, oh, dummy, don't do that. I went back in and said, beautiful dress, hangs nicely, is far too big for me. If it was my size, I would keep it. Within a week, it was sold. So you have to think about pitching your item to the buyer, what they want to hear about how fabulous your item was. Every single person who bought one of these Gudrun clothes was just been thrilled because the prices were close to half the price of what they would have paid in the store, and she hadn't worn any of them.
Right.
All right, so shipping, be sure to make sure, I mean, everything has tracking numbers on it, but you have to put your tracking number in there. There are places where it will tell you to add your tracking. Active, I guess.
All your tracking numbers are there.
Yeah, so there is some place in here where it will say, like when it's sold, it will give you a listing that says mark is shipped, add tracking. If you buy your postage through eBay, they do all that. And you're going to leave feedback. And I sometimes will watch to make sure the package was delivered, and then I leave feedback. And you're going to leave feedback that says A+ buyer, or fast response, or great communication if you were having eBay emails back and forth with the person. Just something positive that goes on their record. You know, I have not actually looked at mine. Let's see if we can find it. If I go to Rosebud Quilter, what happens?
Well, you got 95 stars.
I think that means how many sales I've done. So I haven't had any negative or neutral. Can I look at positive? Do I click on positive? So there, I had 5 sales last month and 12 in the last 6 months. And then there's what people have said. You know, I try to be very fast. And then you also get feedback from places you buy from. So some are just standard that they're just popping up.
Great communication.
Yeah. So when that little email comes in, oh, I was going to show you that. I don't think I did. Let's try and find that. I did, didn't I? Did I show you the email that came in that said sold? Gosh, hold on, stop share. Share screen.
I don't know, I'm taking notes, but
It's okay.
I'm sure you did.
Okay, so that's what it looks like. That's
Right.
that's what the email looked like. It had the woman's name. It gave you some choices. Print a shipping label will take you to the page that lets you print the invoice or print an address or whatever you want to do.
You
Mark
don't
your
do it
item.
that way, though.
What?
You do it that way or you don't do it that way?
You can. It just depends what you want to do, but it's one of the ways that you can just go directly from your email to where you want to go in eBay. Like you see me slogging around a bit in eBay. It's takes you a while to figure out where to go. Somebody last week had asked, how long does it take to do this? I was like, okay, my first auction I ever put up took me 2 hours, but I didn't know where the buttons were. I didn't know how to find things. So this little class should help you speed up a lot from me slogging around, not knowing how to do eBay at all. There are books. I had one here on the table. There are books that are available. It turns out this one is really old, 1996, but you know, there are other ways. You Google how to sell on eBay, you'll find all kinds of advice, but they should speed you up a bit. These were just saying things that you can do, but when I get this email, there I can contact the buyer straight from here, from my own email, and I almost always contact the buyer right away and say, hey, thanks for your sale, you made my day. If it's on a Friday, I say, hey, I live in a little teeny town with no postage, I will mail this on Monday. Or, you know, I just make, and I always sign it Rose. Like I make it personal so that they think they're dealing with a real person instead of like just a business.
Right.
It's a lovely thing to get. And the print a shipping label definitely takes you to their page. Remember, they're making a cut on the shipping. So and this is a way that it will come up cheaper. If we click it now, it's not going to take us anywhere because that was shipped. I'm pretty sure. And I don't know if you can see this. Are you still seeing the email?
Same page.
Did you see the email or did it go with you?
It's on the same page.
Yeah, okay. So where do I get this to? There, stop share. Share. It looks different when you're, there it is. When you're on the sharing side. So do you see eBay ship your order now?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's great because this is what it looks like when you're going to pay eBay for something. If you haven't gotten the right weight or the right size, you can change that. And you can decide what carrier you're using. It will give you a price. So this was an envelope, I think, a very flat envelope. It was a skirt. It didn't weigh anything. There's a value here of what she paid for it. So she only paid $49 in value. It could be that's all that the insurance would pay you was the item. I'm not sure if the insurance also will cover the cost of the postage, but the woman paid $52.55 to ship it. And then you can add in extra insurance, you can do things, and you'll get either a printable label or a code. And I always just made a printable label. Down at the bottom, when you say purchase shipping label, that's another thing that's going to go immediately to your charge card. And that's how you've paid for your postage. It will then post the tracking, say it's shipped, and then it happens on the day that you do it. So you want to get this together so that if you're going to the postage the next day, it's still good. You know, have it be the postage on the day that you actually ship it.
Right. Gotcha.
And do you print the label then?
I sometimes do. Now, if I print it on sticky paper, for me, those pieces of paper are $1. So I've just, and then you're going to use about half of that for your label. So there's 50 cents that just went into that auction I didn't cover necessarily. So some people will add 10% just to cover expenses or their handling time. You can do it on plain paper, but then you've got to tape it down. And I have an inkjet printer, so you have to be careful that I'll tape over the address so that it doesn't get wet and just mush the address, but you don't want to tape over a barcode because it won't read right.
Right.
It'll slow down your package. So it just depends how you want to do it. I don't have a problem. We have a teeny tiny little town with COVID. There's no one at the post office, but if you have a problematic post office, if you have paid for shipping and you put it on a package, you don't have to wait in a line. You just walk up and you leave it on the counter and you leave. You don't have to deal with anything, particularly if it's under 13 ounces. I think you could just put it in the box. The thing sometimes they'll give me a receipt that shows the tracking number on the receipt, but it just depends how you want to do it. I do it both ways. But if I mail it myself at the post office, then I come home and I have to punch those numbers in myself. So it's just one way to speed it up. Depending how many you're doing, it might be easier to do through eBay.
Okay.
Just be sure to cover your shipping costs, including the eBay percentage off of the shipping.
Great.
So if you mail it yourself,
Yeah.
you have to enter those costs into the eBay thing?
No, you enter your tracking number into
Okay.
the sale. So if I were to go back, so like it says print packing slip, then that is, did it pop up? Can you see it? You might not be able to see it. Okay. It shows you an address. Like that's the thing that I would do. And you could hide your own address if you wanted. Like that's the one that I put inside. That's a packing slip. I usually print the actual invoice that has the price on it. Go back to orders. It probably won't let me do an invoice because it's already been delivered. But there is a place when you have something sold, there over here in these options, it says add tracking number, mark as shipped. And that's where I would do that manually.
I see.
I'm
Yes.
usually so thrilled it's sold. I'm happy to enter the numbers, you know.
I guess my question is, so whether the buyer pays the shipping or whether you pay the shipping, it still gets entered on the eBay ad, right? So that eBay gets their cut.
If the buyer pays the shipping, then eBay will take a cut.
Uh-huh.
And if you have added the amount of shipping you're going to pay into the sale price of your item, then eBay will get a portion of that. They're going to get 10%.
10%.
So whatever amount it is, they're getting 10% of it.
Okay, so they're going to get it either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
And you do get a break on the US shipping. There is an ebay.ca, and it should look just like this. It is the Canadian version of eBay, I'm pretty sure. I should look and see. Hold on. Let's see what we have. I know there's an Amazon.ca. So there's ebay.ca. And so that should wind up being in everything in Canadian. And so, yeah, so at the top here, you've got Canadian, English, or Française. So this should then take you immediately to Canada Post, and everything should be arranged for Canada Post.
Mm-hmm.
And the percentages would be the same. Everything would be the same. It's not recognizing me up here. I'm not signed into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that pop-up was trying to get me to sign in.
So you can sign in your account to eBay Canada then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be the same, which is nice. I think I had to make a separate account for Amazon Canada, and then it had like a fit because I didn't have a Canadian credit card. So it really wasn't doable. I was trying to buy a gift for Diane in our art group, and it didn't work.
Mm.
It was just easier to ship from Canada than it was to ship from the US up to Canada. So those are some of the things to think about: where you're shipping, where you're willing to sell to, what's easiest. Depending what you're shipping, it may be easier to deal with local pickup. I see sometimes things that will say local pickup. So it depends what you're looking for.
That's fantastic. You've really helped navigate the whole system here.
Yeah. I thought it would just speed you up. Any other questions we can think of? Let me figure out how to unshare this. There we go. There we go.
No, this has been fantastic. It's just really helped in terms of just really getting started and knowing where to go, because as you say, it's so difficult to navigate all these little areas and not really understanding the process So I have a much better, clearer idea of how this works.
You know, it depends what you have that you'd like to sell,
Right.
and whether it's like, okay, say you have a set of dishes. I know Paul has some sterling silver things. I had somebody come and talk to me that they have this beautiful set of dishes. China, in a set, everybody is selling them. You could buy any set you want for about $250, and that's way cheap for these $2,000-$3,000 valued sets of china. Oh,
Right.
there's your. But if you look on eBay, you'll find out that a plate is selling for $10 or a plate is selling for $15. And if you add that up, then you're like, wow, this set of china is worth a lot of money. But having to package, ship a plate at a time is a lot of work. But in the long run, you would make all that money. So you would have to think what way you want to do it. You'll wind up doing a lot of research. So I actually am sitting on an expensive set of china that I was not willing to give away for Bill, the guy who moved, because they are really rare set of amazing china. So I was like, okay, I have to think of what to do with that. Too much trouble. I'm not going to deal with it.
Right.
I would say for your beginning of experimenting and getting your feet wet, find something that's a designer label or something that people are buying and selling fairly easily, and
Right.
put something up that will sell quickly, because that feedback of having it sell and how you feel afterwards is really positive and gives you more energy to come back and put another auction on.
Right. It's the research is the valuable part, trying to figure out. I have a lot of vintage umbrellas and hats from you know, New York, and I mean
Those
that.
sell like hotcakes.
Right.
And you're probably going to find magazine images or articles, like anything you can find, you can. It's tricky to put links to things in your description, but you could describe how to find it or whatever, take a picture. I definitely lifted some Gudrun pictures and put them in my auction to help
Right.
sell the items. But
Right.
things like that I think would go well, and you might make a name for yourself with things. You would have to, and definitely go to Google and ask questions just in Google. We do it in the library a lot of times. If somebody contacts you and says, I want to see your things not in eBay, then you could go to Google and say, can I do this? And you can figure out how to manage that.
Right. Right. Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Rose, for all of your time.
Thank you, Rose.
It's been fantastic.
Thanks,
Really.
everybody.
Thanks so much, Rose. That's
All
been
right.
very helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've got a set of maybe 10 items, and they're all different, no two alike, and they're big. They're like serving. Lots of things are like serving plates with lids, and I'm thinking, got a box and pack and bubble wrap and blah, 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 blah.
I think for you, maybe come into the library, on Wednesday when I'm there, and we could just do enough research to figure out, are people buying those for any money?
Yeah.
And if we start, because sterling silver is valuable, or silver plate is valuable. So it's like, okay, if you go on there and you find out that big old monster covered dish is selling for $650, you'll suddenly be way more interested in packing it.
Right.
Yep. We will. Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
All right,
you, Rose.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Suze,
Nice to
Mary.
see you. Thanks for coming, Mary.
Nice to see you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah,
I'm
nice
working on my paintings. I'm working.
Yeah, I'm still procrastinating, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay.
See you
maybe-
later.
Thank
Okay,
you, Rose.
bye.